You are currently a ghost drifting through a life you claim to own, but which is actually being rented to you by the whims of chance. Look at your hands and realize they are empty, but because you lack the strength to grasp, but because you have never decided what is worth holding. Most people are terrified of the dark, yet they spend their entire existence stumbling through a fog of samajhte, maybe, never realizing that a life without a plan is not a life at all. It is a slow, rhythmic suicide of the soul. You think you are waiting for the right moment, for the stars to align, for the inspiration to strike like lightning. But the cold, hard reality of human psychology suggests that you are simply a victim of your own biological inertia. Nature does not reward the wanderer, it consumes him. The universe is a chaotic, entropic machine that seeks to level everything to zero, and unless you have a blueprint for your own expansion, you are merely part of the debris. Jim Rohn once whispered a truth that sounds like a threat if you listen closely enough. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. This isn't just a motivational platitude, it is a law of social dynamics as old as the pyramids. When you lack a definitive direction, you become a resource for those who have won. You become the brick in someone else's tower, the fuel in someone else's engine, a disposable asset in a game you don't even realize you're playing. Think of the architect. He does not begin with the marble or the mortar. He begins with a white sheet of paper and a line. Without that line, the marble remains a rock and the mortar remains dust. Your life is currently a pile of raw materials, weathering in the rain, while you sit nearby waiting for a house to spontaneously manifest. This is the great delusion of the modern age, the idea that going with the flow is a virtue. But consider what flows: dead fish, sewage, and debris. Anything with a will, anything with a purpose, moves against the current or directs it. If you are currently flowing, you are already dead, you just haven't stopped breathing yet. That we must look into the dark corridors of the mind to understand why you resist the plan. It is the fear of being measured. As long as you have no plan, you can never truly fail. You can tell yourself that you are versatile or open-minded, but these are just masks for the cowardice of avoided accountability. A plan is a mirror. It shows you exactly where you fell short, exactly where your discipline buckled, and exactly how much of the potential you wasted on trivialities. Most men would rather live in the comfort of a vague fantasy than the harsh light of a concrete failure. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet, one that involves the very structure of your brain and how it betrays you when the sun goes down. In the silence of the night, the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that dreams and calculates, is at the mercy of the limbic system, the ancient reptilian core that only understands survival and comfort. Without a written plan, a physical manifestation of your intent, you are handing the steering wheel of your life over to a lizard. The lizard doesn't want you to be wealthy or respected or self-actualized. The lizard wants you to be safe, warm, and stagnant. When Jim Rohn spoke of the discipline of the day, he was describing a war. It is a war between the person you could become and the animal you currently are. Every day without a plan is a victory for the animal. Consider the Machiavellian perspective: power is never given, is taken through the meticulous arrangement of circumstances. If you do not have a map of the terrain, you cannot see the traps. You are walking into social and professional environments blind, wondering why you are constantly overlooked, why your bank account remains a graveyard of almosts, and why your relationships feel like repetitive loops of the same argument. It is because you are reacting to life instead of commanding it. You are pinball bouncing off the bumpers of other people's agendas, feeling the thrill of movement, but never actually arriving anywhere. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Seneca remarked that no wind is favorable to a sailor who has no destination. You can have all the talent in the world, all the hustle that social media demands of you, and all the positive vibes your heart can hold. But if your sails are set toward anywhere, you will eventually find yourself in the middle of a doldrum, starving for purpose. The plan is the rudder. It is the only thing that separates the captain from the cargo. Yet even as we speak of maps and rudders, we must acknowledge the shadow side of the human ego, the part of you that secretly loves the chaos because it gives you an excuse for your mediocrity. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet regarding the price of your procrastination. You think the price is simply lost time, but time is a finite resource that is being burned every second. You aren't just losing time. You are losing the version of yourself that could have existed. There is a graveyard of superior versions of you, people who were more disciplined, more focused, and more successful, who died because you refused to give them a plan to be born. You are the executioner of your own potential. Every morning you wake up without a list of objectives. You are effectively declaring to the universe that your time had a value. And the universe, being a perfect accountant, will treat you accordingly. It will fill your day with the distractions of others. It will tempt you with the cheap dopamine of the screen. It will let you drift into a sedative state of business where you do many things but achieve nothing. Discipline, Ron noted, is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. But how can you build a bridge if you haven't decided which shore you are trying to reach? We see this in the decay of empires and the rot of individuals. When the vision perishes, the people perish. When the plan vanishes, the spirit wilts. You are currently in a state of spiritual dehydration, thirsty for a meaning that can only be found in the pursuit of a well-defined goal. You need the struggle, you need the resistance. Without a plan, there is no resistance, only the soft, suffocating embrace of the mundane. You are being lulled to sleep by the absence of an enemy. A plan gives you a target gives you a reason to sharpen your blade. History is written by the men who spent their nights hunched over maps, not by those who waited to see what happened. Napoleon didn't conquer Europe by winging it. The great cathedrals weren't built by feeling the vibe. They were the result of obsessive, granular planning that accounted for the weight of every stone and the cost of every hour. Why do you think your life deserves any less rigor? Why do you treat your only existence like a rough draft that you'll fix later? There is no later. There is only the mounting debt of your inaction. As we descend further into this realization, we must confront the concept of the empty decades. Most people spend their 20s searching, their 30s settling, and their 40s regretting. This cycle is only broken by the violent intervention of a plan. You must be willing to kill the person you are today to allow the person you want to be to take their place. This is a psychological alchemy, turning the lead of your daily habits into the gold of a legacy. But this transformation requires a furnace, and that furnace is the cold, calculated structure of a daily, weekly, and yearly plan. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Concerning the social parasites that thrive on your lack of direction, in the absence of your own plan, you become the ideal prey for the architects of consumption. Algorithms are designed to fill the gaps in your schedule. Advertisers are waiting to tell you what you want because you haven't decided for yourself. If you do not fill your day with your own intentions, the world will fill it with its own garbage. You are currently a vacuum, and the world is more than happy to fill you with its filth. Jim Rohn spoke of the pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. You are currently choosing the weight of the ton because the ounce feels too heavy in the moment. This is the ultimate psychological trap, the preference for immediate ease over ultimate liberation. By refusing to plan, you are choosing a life of permanent level anxiety over a life of temporary, high-level exertion. The anxiety comes the subconscious knowledge that you are drifting toward a waterfall. You can hear the roar of the water, the health issues, the financial ruin, the loneliness, but you refuse to pick up the oars. Stop looking for a sign. The sign is the frustration you feel in your chest. The sign is the envy you feel when you see someone else living the life you wanted. The sign is the hollow echo of your own excuses. You don't need more motivation. Motivation is for children. Planning is for adults. You need a system. You need a cold, clinical assessment of your current location and a jag uncompromising line to your destination. You need to stop being a ghost in your own story. The tragedy is not that life is short. The tragedy is that we wait so long to begin it. You have been standing at the starting line for years, checking your laces, looking at the weather, wondering if the crowd is watching. The truth is, no one is watching. They are all too busy trying to figure out their own unmapped lives. You are alone in the arena, and the clock is ticking. The only way to win is to start building the structure that will support your greatness. Write it down. Carve it into the day. Make the plan so clear that your excuses have nowhere to hide. If you continue as you are, the end is already written. It is a quiet room, a heavy heart, and the realization that you had everything you needed to be a king, but you chose to be a servant to your own comfort. But it doesn't have to end that way. The power to pivot is yours, but it expires with every sunset. This is your ultimatum. The world doesn't care about your potential. It only cares about your output. And output requires a factory, and a factory requires a blueprint. Go now. Close the tab. Put down the phone. Find a piece of paper, not a digital screen, but something tactile, something that requires the friction of reality. Draw that line. Define the next 24 hours with the precision of a surgeon. If you cannot govern a single day, you have no business dreaming of a decade. The revolution begins with lists. The empire begins with a schedule. The man begins with a choice. Do not let the silence return. Do not let the lizard take the wheel. You have been warned of the cost, and you have been shown the way. The fog is lifting, and the waterfall is getting louder. It's time to decide if you are the captain or the cargo. It's time to realize that you are currently a ghost, It's drifting through a life you claim to own, but which is actually being rented to you by the whims of chance. How I can help you take the first step. Would you like me to help you draft a high leverage daily protocol based on Jim Rohn's principles to ensure you never have another own plan day?